All right, gearing up for a Chief ICT Security Officer interview, huh? Talk about high stakes. We're diving deep into RoleCatcher's resources today. Career guides, interview prep, even a peek at their AI tools. The goal, equip you to absolutely nail this interview.
It's not just knowing the tech anymore.
Right.
A Chief ICT Security Officer needs to be a leader, a strategist, someone who can translate complex security issues into business decisions.
That's the challenge.
That's what makes this role so challenging and so exciting.
Let's jump right into the hot seat.
Okay.
With a question RoleCatcher highlights as a common opener. How do you stay up to date with the latest security threats and trends? Seems straightforward.
Yeah.
But what are they really digging into here?
They're testing your commitment to continuous learning.
Okay.
Security is an ever-changing landscape. Mentioning specific resources is key.
Give me an example.
Industry publications, conferences you attend, even security researchers you follow online.
So name-dropping, dark reading, or black hat isn't enough.
Right.
What kind of detail will make an answer stand out?
Tying a recent security event to a potential company vulnerability is a great way to showcase that you're not just reading headlines. You're analyzing them. For example, you could mention a recent ransomware attack and discuss how a company's lack of multi-factor authentication could make them vulnerable.
I see.
Show you're thinking ahead.
That's a fantastic tip.
Thanks.
RoleCatcher also suggests thinking about follow-up questions the interviewer might ask.
Yeah.
In this case, they could dig deeper into a specific vulnerability you mentioned.
Oh, for sure.
Be prepared to discuss mitigation strategies and the
Yeah.
pros and cons of different approaches.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you can think critically and apply your knowledge to real-world scenarios. Now let's move on to another question that RoleCatcher highlights. Describe your experience managing a security program across multiple locations or business units. Complexity is the name of the game here.
Right? For sure. Large companies, remote teams.
Exact.
The security landscape is rarely simple.
Never simple.
They want someone who can think strategically and manage across different environments.
This is a perfect opportunity to use the STAR method.
Okay.
Think of a specific situation where you faced a complex security challenge across different locations or business units. Describe the task at hand, the actions you took, and the results you achieved.
Let's say you implemented a new security awareness training program across a global organization.
Okay.
Walk me through how you'd use the STAR method to answer this question.
Okay, so the situation would be the need to improve security awareness across a geographically dispersed workforce. The task was to develop and implement a training program that was engaging, relevant, and accessible to everyone. The actions I took involved collaborating with different stakeholders, tailoring the content for regional differences, and leveraging technology for a consistent rollout. And the result? We saw a significant reduction in phishing attacks and an overall improvement in security posture.
And the numbers. Don't forget to quantify your impact whenever possible.
Yes.
Did phishing click rates drop by a certain percentage? That's the kind of detail that makes an answer memorable.
Absolutely. Quantifying your results demonstrates that you understand the impact of your work and that you can measure success objectively. Now, here's a question that really gets to the heart of the CISO role.
Okay.
How do you balance security with the needs of the business?
This is huge.
It is.
It's about understanding that security is a business enabler, not a roadblock. You can't be Fort Knox if the business can't function.
Precisely. Prepare for this question by thinking of a real-world example where you had to make a tough call. Maybe you had to prioritize a business need that introduced some security risk, but you found a way to mitigate that risk effectively.
What kind of example would resonate with a hiring manager for a Chief ICT Security Officer role?
Let's say the business wanted to adopt a new cloud-based collaboration platform to improve productivity.
Right.
There were some concerns about data security in the cloud, so I worked closely with the vendor to ensure they met our security requirements. I implemented additional security controls like data encryption and access control to mitigate the risk. Ultimately, the business was able to move forward with the new platform, and we did it without compromising security.
That's a great example of how to showcase your understanding of the delicate balance between security and business needs.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about RoleCatcher's AI and how it can help tailor your answers for this kind of question.
Their AI can actually analyze your response, provide feedback on its clarity and relevance, and even suggest improvements based on the specific requirements of the CISO role.
Wow.
It's like having a virtual interview coach, fine-tuning your every word.
Talk about taking the guesswork out of interview prep.
Yeah.
It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
And let's not forget the career insights that RoleCatcher provides.
Oh, right.
Their career guides outline responsibilities from entry level all the way up to senior CISO roles. They even have example profiles for each stage, which can help you visualize your potential career path.
It's fascinating to see how the responsibilities and expectations evolve as you climb the ladder.
Absolutely.
For instance, an entry-level security analyst might focus on technical tasks, while a CISO is crafting the overall security strategy and vision for the organization.
It emphasizes that continuous learning is essential throughout your career. Technology is constantly evolving, and a successful CISO needs to stay ahead of the curve.
All right, let's tackle another challenging question. Tell me about a time you had to persuade senior management to invest in a security initiative.
Oh, yeah.
This one's all about leadership and communication.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely. You need to demonstrate that you can articulate the value of security in business terms and that you can effectively advocate for the resources you need to protect the organization.
So how do you approach this question? What kind of story would really impress a hiring manager?
Choose a situation where you had to make a compelling case for a security investment. Maybe upgrading outdated firewalls or implementing a new intrusion detection system. Explain how you researched the issue, identified the potential risks, and quantified the potential costs of inaction. Then outline the steps you took to present your findings to senior management. Focus on how you tailored your message to their concerns and how you highlighted the return on investment for the proposed security initiative.
Did you create a compelling presentation with graphs and data? Did you frame the issue in terms of business risk rather than just technical jargon? Those are the details that will bring your story to life.
Exactly. And don't forget to describe the outcome. Did you successfully secure the funding? Did the initiative improve the organization's security posture? Highlighting a successful outcome demonstrates your ability to influence decision-making and drive positive change within an organization.
Okay, let's keep this momentum going with another question that often throws candidates off guard. Describe a time you made a significant mistake in your work. What did you learn from it? No one's perfect, right? They're looking for self-awareness and growth.
It's a test of your humility and your ability to learn from your mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but it's how you handle them that sets you apart. Choose a situation where you made a genuine error, but be sure to highlight the steps you took to correct it and the lessons you learned. Focus on how you've grown professionally as a result of the experience.
What kind of mistake would be appropriate to share in a CISO interview?
Perhaps you miscalculated the risk associated with a particular vendor, and it led to a minor security incident. You could discuss how you underestimated the importance of conducting thorough due diligence and how you subsequently implemented a more robust vendor assessment process to prevent similar issues in the future.
That's a great example of turning a negative experience into a positive learning opportunity. And it shows that you're not afraid to own your mistakes and take responsibility for your actions.
And remember, authenticity is key. Don't try to sugarcoat the situation or pretend you were never at fault. Hiring managers appreciate honesty and self-awareness.
Now let's step back for a moment and talk about how RoleCatcher's career guides can help you prepare for this type of question. They provide insights into the key skills and qualities that CISOs need to develop, including problem-solving, decision-making, and communication.
They also highlight the importance of soft skills, such as leadership, teamwork, and emotional intelligence. These are essential qualities for any CISO as they need to be able to build relationships, inspire trust, and lead through challenging situations.
And those soft skills can be just as important as technical expertise, especially when it comes to handling mistakes and navigating complex interpersonal dynamics.
Absolutely. It's all about demonstrating that you're not just a technical expert, but also a well-rounded leader who can handle the pressures and challenges of a high-stakes role like Chief ICT Security Officer. Building on those soft skills, let's dive into another question RoleCatcher flags as critical. How do you manage third-party security risks? It's not just about your company systems anymore, it's that whole network of vendors and partners.
It's like securing a chain. The weakest link is what matters. They want to see that you're proactive, not just scrambling to react when something goes wrong.
Start by outlining your due diligence process. How do you assess a vendor before they're even onboarded? Mentioning certifications is good, but go deeper. Do you conduct your own penetration testing? What red flags do you look for in their security posture?
Let's say you're evaluating a cloud storage provider.
Oh, okay.
What specifics would make your answer stand out?
I'd highlight things like data encryption at rest and in transit, their access control policies and how they handle incident response. Ideally, I'd want to see evidence of third-party audits or security certifications that align with industry best practices.
That level of detail shows you're not just checking boxes. You're thinking critically about the unique risks each vendor brings. RoleCatcher also emphasizes ongoing monitoring, not just that initial vetting.
Right.
What are some smart ways to approach that?
Regular security assessments are crucial. Depending on the vendor and the data they handle, this could involve vulnerability scans, penetration tests, or even reviewing their security incident logs. It's also important to ensure they're adhering to the terms of your security agreements and meeting any regulatory compliance requirements.
And don't shy away from sharing a story about a time you had to address a security issue with a vendor.
Oh, absolutely.
It shows you're not afraid to hold them accountable. Now let's shift to a question that's all about compliance. How have you implemented security controls to comply with regulatory requirements?
Compliance is a big one, especially for a CS. It's not just about avoiding fines, it's about demonstrating that security is integrated into the company's DNA.
The STAR method is super useful here, right?
Yeah.
But with compliance, there can be so many regulations to juggle. How do you choose the right example?
Focus on a regulation relevant to the specific industry or company you're interviewing with. For example, if it's healthcare, you'd talk about HIPAA. If it's finance, PCI DSS would be top of mind. Then choose a situation where you played a key role in implementing controls to meet those specific requirements.
Let's say the company deals with sensitive customer data.
Okay.
Walk me through a STAR method answer for that scenario.
The situation would be needing to comply with GDPR, the European Data Privacy Regulation. My task was to implement controls ensuring we were handling data lawfully and securely. Actions I took involved things like data encryption access controls and developing data retention policies. The result was successfully passing a third-party audit and demonstrating our commitment to GDPR compliance.
Again, specificity is key. Mentioning the actual technologies or processes you implemented makes it far more impactful. Now, RoleCatcher's AI can actually play a role here too, right?
Absolutely. Their AI can analyze your answer for clarity and even suggest improvements based on common CISO job requirements. It can point out if you're using too much jargon or if you need to provide more context for a non-technical audience.
It's like having a second set of expert eyes on your prep, which is invaluable. Let's move on to a question that's close to my heart. How do you ensure that security is integrated into the development lifecycle of software and applications?
Shifting left. This shows you understand that security isn't an afterthought. It's baked into every stage of development.
What are some concrete examples of how you've done this in the past?
I've implemented secure coding training for developers, integrated security testing into the CI/CD pipeline, and even established a bug bounty program to encourage proactive vulnerability identification. The key is collaboration, working closely with development teams, making security everyone's responsibility.
It's about culture change, not just ticking off a checklist. RoleCatcher's career guides actually dive into the CISO as a leader who champions security throughout the organization.
They highlight the need for communication skills, the ability to influence without direct authority, and build consensus across departments. That's what elevates a good CISO to a great one.
All right, one more question before we wrap up part 2. How do you ensure that your security program is aligned with the overall business strategy? This is where security meets the bottom line.
It's about understanding the business's goals and demonstrating that security is an enabler, not a blocker. Start by explaining how you identify those key business objectives and then translate them into security goals.
What's a concrete example that would resonate with a hiring manager?
Let's say the business is expanding into a new market that has stricter data privacy regulations. I'd work with the legal and compliance teams to understand those regulations and then adapt our security program to ensure we meet those requirements. This would involve updating policies, implementing new controls, and potentially investing in new technologies. By doing so, we're enabling the business expansion while mitigating potential risks.
That's a fantastic way to show you're thinking strategically and proactively. And it brings us back to that key CISO skill, communication. You need to be able to articulate the value of security in a way that resonates with business leaders.
And that's something RoleCatcher's AI can help with as well. Their AI can analyze your answers, looking for clarity, conciseness, and that all-important business impact. It can even suggest ways to rephrase technical concepts into language that non-technical executives will understand.
It's like having a personal speechwriter who understands both security and e-business, which is pretty amazing. We've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive, but we're not quite done yet. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll explore some final thoughts and strategies to help you truly stand out from the crowd and land that CISO role. Welcome back to the final stretch of our Chief ICT Security Officer interview prep.
Yeah.
We've tackled tough questions, explored RoleCatcher's insights, and even gotten a little help from their AI.
Yeah.
But before you walk into that interview, there's one more crucial element we need to discuss.
It's not just about what you know, it's about why you do it. Hiring managers are looking for someone who's genuinely passionate about security, someone who's driven by more than just a paycheck.
So be ready to talk about what sparked your interest in this field.
Absolutely.
Was it a fascination with technology, a desire to protect information from the bad guys, a specific event that opened your eyes to the importance of cybersecurity?
Sharing that personal connection, that why behind your career choices can make all the difference. It shows you're not just filling a role, you're pursuing a purpose. And remember, the interview is a two-way street. You're evaluating them just as much as they're evaluating you.
That's such a good point. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions that show you've done your homework. What are their biggest security challenges? How do they prioritize security investments? What's their stance on remote work and its impact on security?
Those insightful questions demonstrate that you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for the right fit. A place where you can grow, contribute, and make a real impact. Speaking of impact, let's revisit RoleCatcher's career stages. They provide a fascinating roadmap of how a security career can progress.
It's amazing to see the journey laid out from those early analyst roles all the way to the C-suite.
Right.
And those example profiles for each stage offer a glimpse into the real-world experience needed at each level.
Connecting this to the bigger picture, it underscores the importance of being proactive in your career development. Don't wait for opportunities to fall into your lap. Seek them out, build your network, stay curious, and never stop learning.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the most important takeaway for our listener heading into that Chief ICT Security Officer interview?
It's more than just knowing the tech. It's about continuous learning about leading and inspiring others and understanding how security decisions impact the entire business. RoleCatcher's resources provide a fantastic foundation, but the real work is yours. Own your expertise, showcase your passion, and demonstrate that you're ready to lead the charge in this ever-evolving world of cybersecurity.
And remember, you've got this. We're confident that with the insights and strategies we've explored today, you'll walk into that interview room prepared, confident, and ready to land that dream CISO role. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive on the Deep Dive.